Okay, so is this on? Okay, great. Because I could yell. Well, thank you guys for coming tonight. I love Favorite Book. I come here regularly. I really enjoy scoping. My favorite section here is the Bible study workbooks. They just have the best selection, and I feel like I've been so enriched because of being able to use those and finding them here. And I see some familiar faces, and it's so nice to see you. And thank you so much for coming. They asked me to speak for a few minutes just about the book. And I also want to remind you to, if you have any questions afterwards, we are going to have a little Q&A, so get those ready so I'm not just standing up here with blank stares for a little bit. But I guess I just wanted to say that writing a book was never ever something that I imagined I would ever have the privilege to do. I had and I'm so thankful that for Tyndale, who gave me the opportunity and who really did a beautiful job guiding me through the process, because I'm not an author. And so it's a big process, which I learned a whole lot in the last year and a half. And I'm so thankful for Tyndale's leadership and their expertise and heart for the Lord and heart to get good material out there for people who, yes, are believers, but also who might not be, but could maybe be introduced to the Lord in a winning way. And so they really ushered me through that process, and I'm so thankful for them. But many years ago, I was involved in a community Bible study sort of thing where women came from all kinds of different churches. And it was like Hannah after BFF. For many of you who've been involved in Bible study fellowship, I was for a long time and loved it, and then it was no longer available in our town. And so a bunch of us got together and came up with kind of something like it. And I had the opportunity to speak, like do the teaching from time to time. And afterwards, I would have so many women come up to me and want to talk and really have coffee, because when I shared the experiences that I had while teaching the scripture that we were supposed to be learning that week, I shared how much the Lord had really led me through some things as a young mom, and as a mom with teenagers, and then as a mom with young adults, and as a businesswoman. And how he's just been so good to me. And he's changed a lot of my fear and need to control situations with my kids into learning how to trust him and feeling free because of it, and feeling like a new sense of opportunity and possibility in my relationship with my kids, and in opportunities for them, because it was no longer me so desperately wanting to channel them in very specific ways, but instead trusting the Lord would have actually his plan for them, and that's the safest and best and most wonderful place. But to get there sometimes is super hard, and it takes experiences that are really uncomfortable and really challenging and heart-wrenching at times. And I saw other moms go through it, and I felt it, I knew it, I experienced it, and not that I'm on the other side, but I experienced some of the freedom of like, I remember one lecture, just like putting my hand on, like, oh Lord, just and no white knuckles, because because of the Lord's goodness. And I thought, oh, someday I need to write this down. And you know, some days never. I'm not a journaler. So I don't have a lot of like writing down things. I also had this at that Bible study, you can never figure out how to make it work. It's kind of like, it's really loud. Is that all right?
Yeah.
But I always felt like the Lord did give me a message, and this book gave me the opportunity to speak the message in the way of just telling my story. And it's only been out for a couple of weeks, but I do feel like just because of the feedback I've gotten through direct messages on Instagram primarily, that the Lord is really using it. It's resonating with people because we've all been there. Like if you have kids who've been at least one of the places that I've been to that I talk about in the book. And it's, I guess, one time I was thinking about it this way, is that God has a story for each one of us. And since he doesn't live inside time, he's eternal, he knows the whole story from the beginning. And he knows the hard times, he knows the good times, he knows the ones filled with joy and the ones with sorrow. And it's his beautiful story for us, and we have the privilege of walking it and then giving him the glory because he's so good. And so I love that I got to tell the story because he is so good and he has been so faithful to me. Maybe some of you know this song that's kind of gotten popular, All My Life. He has been faithful. All my life, he's been so, so good. And what's the next line?
The goodness of God.
I will sing of the goodness of God. Yeah, I will sing of the goodness of God because all my life he's been faithful. Not that I've been aware of it or admitted it or even known it, but he has been faithful. And so I love that I was able to have the help to write this and share it. And I just have been praying the Lord would use it to his glory. And so, okay, that's the mom story. There's a lot of design stuff in there too. I kind of forgot. And it just chronicles my journey, which is very, in my opinion, unlikely situation. I am a self-taught designer. I'm a business major. I just never thought a lot of everything that's happened to me would happen, but it's been super fun. And we just finished filming season 2 of The Established Home. All the scene work is done and they're piecing it together now. And I think you're going to love it. Who all has watched part of season 1? Okay, awesome. From what I hear from the post edit of production, it's better. Season 2 is better. So that's kind of fun. And there's 8 episodes as opposed to 6. Am I allowed to say this?
Yes. You are.
I think I am. There is going to be a season 3. So a little rest for the weary. I hear we get to take January off, but fun time of year, right? But it's been fun alongside my family. It actually made it so fun. And we get to go to new places in season 3 that are different. So, but thank you all for coming. Do any of you have any questions? Okay, yay, thank you.
How old were your kids when you decided to let them go?
Well,
That's a hard.
okay. I don't know if any of you have the one child that is the one that I always talk about this one child of mine is the one that the Lord used to teach me how to pray. And he did, actually. And which was a really important thing. And I'm super glad about it. But it was this one, because the other ones seemed to just kind of be normal cooperative people. And he's not. So it was him. And it was since he was a young age, but like crisis for me was around the time of what college he would go to, which I talk about in the book. Yes.
So
go ahead.
you're called to be courageous, or whether that's like parenting differently than other moms in your community, or starting a home show, or opening up a store, moving to a new place. What is your process in like finding the courage and like bravery to step out and take action?
I have a couple different answers for this. In the courage to be a different mom, then was completely surrounding me. I think it was just conviction that what I was seeing I didn't like, and I didn't care if it wasn't the same as everybody else. I did not like it. So like we didn't have TV. We didn't have cable. My sons never had video games. This is coming of age, but like this is like, you know, and there was my sons, well, no, all my kids were like, because of my husband, are very good athletes. And so there's the pressure to travel everything, you know, travel ball, travel soccer, baseball, like all of it. And but I knew what that would do to our family. And so resenting that pressure in a community, you know, really values that. Going to the most elite school because it's the best one you can possibly get into, it never thought off that was somehow a better value, a better thing to strive for. So in one sense, I don't feel like it took courage. I just knew I had to do it. Now, the other stuff like opening a store, being willing to go on television, is more like I was given little opportunities one at a time, or I saw opportunities and wanted to go after them one at a time at specific times in my life. Like the personal life and the family life is in good shape. Like, for example, kids are grown. The opportunity to open a store, or the idea to open a store, seemed logical for lots of reasons, and I talk about it in the book. It just seemed logical. And so it didn't, you know, I guess I feel like when you're trying to walk faithfully with the Lord and listen to his voice, and you're not as worried about what other people say as what you think is right. A lot of things might look courageous on the outside, but are just because you're tight with the Lord, and he gives you the courage, and you don't even know it. I think there's power in it. It's pretty exciting. Yeah. You first, and then
And Jean, I don't know anything about you. I don't know about your book. I don't know about anything.
I just walked in the store tonight.
Saw something in the newspaper a while ago, the opening store, and then I was here at Baker the other night, and saw. So I don't know your background, like before you came to Grand Rapids, like everybody else probably knows all that. Can you say it really fast, like where you were from?
Absolutely.
You love?
Yep. I was born in River Forest, Illinois, which is a suburb right outside Chicago, next to Oak Park, which maybe some of you have heard of Oak Park. My dad was born there. I was born there. All my kids were born there. We were all raised there. Three of my 4 adult kids settled in Grand Rapids. about the time that my husband and I were thinking about downsizing. And so instead of downsizing in the Chicago area, we decided that we would come to Grand Rapids. My husband was still working and had sales territory that with 11 states, and one of them was Michigan, which meant he could live here. And my business was completely by referral. I was a custom high-end kitchen designer. I had my own business in Chicago. And all my work was referral, just one after the other, after the other. I had no idea if there would be any way to break into the Michigan market. I didn't know if the referrals would continue once I stopped living in town. I had no idea. So I was shocked. Other things started happening. And that's kind of how I got here.
Thank you.
Okay, you and then you, yeah.
Last year you opened the Madison for a Christmas tour. Will you be doing that again this year?
Okay, how many of you have been to the Madison? Okay, just your, okay, well. So in the end of 2017, I bought this massive house in Heritage Hill with a contractor. We had this brilliant idea that we would fix it up and sell it. 3 years later, and probably 3 times as much money as we thought we were going to have to spend on it, we realized we'll never get our money out of it, ever. And so instead of just losing money, I bought him out and my husband and I moved in. And we've been there since almost 2 years now. And within a few weeks of us, well, last year about this time, we did a holiday house tour there. We decorated every one of the, like, I don't know how many rooms. I haven't even counted how many rooms are in the house. It's kind of absurd. But we decorated it completely for Christmas, and we invited, we opened up ticket sales for it. We sold 1,400 tickets in about 2 hours. And it was fun. And this year we did a different house. It'll be 2 episodes on season 2, the house that was the holiday house tour this year. And it's over by Aquinas. And it's this beautiful 1931 Georgian colonial home, gorgeous. And we fixed the whole thing up, took almost a year to remodel it, and then we decorated it for Christmas and opened it up, and we sold 1,800 tickets. Saturday tickets were 700 and we sold out in 27 minutes. Yeah, and it was such a fun day. And unless we need to either find another house to remodel tonight and get working on it, or we'll probably be back to the Madison next year. Bigger and better. No, not bigger. It's better. That was your question. And then yours.
I'm just wondering how you ended up getting picked up by the Magnolia Network and what it's been like working with them.
Well, I'll tell you what it's like working with them first. Amazing. I mean, I was very, my kids were particularly worried about television because their opinion of it is, it's just like fast design, not good design. They love conflict. It's about drama for the sake of drama. It's ridiculous, and they're going to make our family look bad. No. But the more I learned about Magnolia and what their mission was, is to find regular people who are doing interesting things and let them tell their story. But they do it in such a cinematic way, and they do it in a way that like elevates, it inspires, it encourages. The directors are constantly telling me, tell us about this. They're never feeding me lines. They're never like, oh, does that make you mad? You know, it's, and the work that they've produced has been so good. That's another thing. Talking about the book earlier, I had no idea what what was required to put a book like this together, the amount of professionals, people that know what they're doing, TV is, whoa. So a lot of people involved in making a really good show, I guess making any show, but a lot of people involved that are very specialized and really good at what they do. And they've been fantastic. How they found me. Has anybody ever heard of Instagram? Grace and I started Instagramming our work when we just started working, my daughter Grace and I, when we just started working together in the beginning of 2017. My son John is a photographer in Chicago and was an early adopter to Instagram because it was mainly for photographers when it got started. And I would ask him, like, do you think there's any place for my kitchens on Instagram? And he said, no, really not. And then in like early 2016, he said, you know, I'm seeing something now on Instagram, and design is starting to get here. So I think you should just start posting some of your work, you know, let's see what happens. And by the end of 2017, Grace and I had caught not a wave, but a tsunami. And there's a lot of good designers out there. A lot of people do amazing work. I have no idea why ours caught, but it did. And Joanna Gaines is a follower, saw our work, followed what we were doing through stories, met my son, John, a photographer, because he was hired to do a shoot for the Magnolia Journal. And in fact, John and Maura, his wife's work is on a couple of the covers. So, you know, like a lot of times there's like these different points of contact. And so that's kind of a short story of that. And it started out where they had this idea for, they call it an anthology series, where they'll do one, they look at one designer and their kind of process and in style in each episode. It's called Point of View, the designer's profile. And I was asked to do the pilot for this. And it was another family conversation. And finally we realized, okay, they're asking for one episode, how bad could it be? And you could also learn the process, like what does it take to make a TV show? So the family thought I should give it a try. And it was a really good experience. And they did a really good job with the episode. It was the one, did anyone of you see that with the grass strip in the countertop? Yeah, I was like, that's a really beautiful show. And so it gave me courage to, when they came back and said, I think we'd like to do a series. I was like, okay, I trust you. I think you'll do good. And they have done. They've done a really beautiful job.
So on the topic of Instagram, I feel like there's a tendency in our lives these days to see what we see on Instagram and think that that's real, that our house should always look like that, like it looks perfectly. And I've had the chance to be a part of some home shoots, and you realize, oh my gosh, like we're putting everything in the perfect spot. That's not actually how it is. But how do you wrestle with that in your own home, your own family, and grandkids, and there's toys everywhere, and just realizing that what we see that's beautiful that we want to emulate might not always be our reality, and that's okay.
There's a lot of answers to that. I think one is that the beauty of being my age is that no one expects me to have toys all over the place. And dirty dishes, you know, packed up, which was my life for many, many, many years. But there is something about Instagram that I think we all have to be, that are on it, have to be careful of, is this, I mean, I feel like it's my marketing arm. It's my way to show a beautiful interior. That's all I'm looking for it to do, is to show a beautiful interior. And in one sense, it's been really gratifying. Because I'm at the place now, it wasn't always at this place, where people will say, I designed my bathroom to look exactly like yours. And they'll send me the picture, and it used to be like, they call me. And now I'm like, so, because it is, it's inspiring people. And I am aware that my camera's always out facing, it's very rarely on me. It's just not comfortable for me at all, so I don't do it much, but there is so much of that. And I think the focus on self can create some of these hard emotional things. Especially if you're in the stage of life where you have dishes piled up and you have toys and nothing can be nice because someone's gonna wreck it. And so I think it's tough for young moms with kids at home to if they think that's what they should have and their life should be at this point, that's gonna be very dissatisfying. And I talk about this in the book about just knowing that there are seasons in life. And you know, like it's a very long season where you just can't have anything nice. And you can't eat good food. No one will eat it. Why would you try making it? And it's good and it's okay. And there could be something in something beautiful that you see, whether it's a paint color or a way to display books. That's inspirational. And just let it go with that. And just know that there'll be a different time. There will be a different time. You might have two nickels to rub against each other. And there won't be handprints all over the walls. It'll be sad. You know, Shelby.
Just curious, so when you first purchased the slow flip, what was your original plan to do with it? Has it changed now that you're done with it? Or I'm just kind of
Do
wondering.
you mean like what was my original design plan or like business plan? It's sort of morphed, actually. My original business plan was to buy it, fix it up, photograph every single solitary angle in the entire place, have content for days, and show some things that we could do that were different, inspire our clients to be a little bit more adventurous, and then sell it. And generally, I, kind of on hoping to continue that, but I think I underestimated the idea of putting designs together that are a little adventurous and still being in a very nice and traditional environment and really paying homage to that traditional environment that that house is, but doing a bit more, I don't know, interesting things, whether it's with color, pattern. And what's been really fun about that is that then it's kind of like our design lab as a company. We have projects in rooms that now we can, like I think we should use tile. There's some companies that make tile molding or molding pieces like you would have a casing around a door or a base and that is made out of tile. And I love this idea. And we've tried to have clients do this and they're like, I don't think so. But I did it at Slow Flip and people are like, I want to do that. So it was like our design lab or our R&D department, and now we've got all this photography to encourage people with. It's fun.
That question for you. So what is a question you'd like someone to ask? What would be the answer to that question?
Oh, wow. I get a lot. I get two questions a lot, and I love them both. And one is from young moms with kids at home that have been successful in their career and are really struggling with, I really want to invest in my kids, but I'm really scared about if I back up on my career, what will happen to it? And I love that question because I love encouraging them. They will never regret investing in their children, ever. And that if I'm any bit of a case study, you don't have to be a young, vibrant, sexy woman to have value and to bring value. And you can wait and you can be more mature, you can have more wrinkles, and people might listen to you. And you will never regret that decision. So I love that question. And then I love the kind of the other end of the question of women about my age going, I have so many ideas. I've been putting off things for so long. Because I've been staying home with my kids, which I don't regret at all. But I'm scared to like put myself out there. And what if that kind of question, what should I do? And a lot of them are wanting to be designers, so that, helps. And I just say, just toe dip. Just put yourself out there in one little area, do something in your own home. And when your friend says, that's great, can you help me with my paint color in my mudroom? Yeah, I can. And just allow yourself, do not second guess yourself. I think second guessing kind of becomes like paralysis. Just go for it. Go for it. Have confidence and go for it. And being scared doesn't do anything for us. Yes, it's as simple as that. It doesn't help with anything, being scared. And so have courage, pick that paint color and tell someone you know it's going to be awesome. Just toe dip, see what happens.
Two questions, but they're easy. What is your favorite book and or design book? And do you watch other design series?
Okay, my favorite design book is called Get Your House Right. And it's a fabulous manual. There's no photographs in it. It's all drawings of correct ways of doing proportion and scale in windows, doors, and moldings. And I refer to it all the time because it's classic design. I have a lot of design books that I love, but it comes and goes. This is classic architectural proportions that translate to interiors in a way that is like, if you can master those, it's good. And what was your other one?
Do you watch other design too?
I watch other people's design shows very briefly, and it's only just, I'm not used to watching TV. I haven't most of my life, so it would be a new habit to start. And usually by the time I could watch TV, I just want to go to bed. So, yes.
How has having the Magnolia Show changed things for your business here or what you hope to do with it?
Okay, that's a great question. It has been fantastic for our store, Stoffer Home. And I'm really happy about that because it's really tough. Retail is tough. And a brick and mortar is tough. Like, I admire Baker Books for being here. It's tough. And the combination of being able to go online and having the exposure of the TV show has really helped us stay the course at Stoffer Home, and it's really great. it's also just been, we've met a whole bunch of new people. There's, you know, when they're putting these shows together, they have these ideas of like, oh, let's meet with the potter, and let's meet with the painter, and let's meet with the soap maker, and I would have never gone to any of these places. It's seen these people's crafts, and it has been so cool because you just have no idea what goes into something until you watch the entire process, and it's impressive what these makers and artists and craftsmen can do. And these are all people that make things for us, for our projects, and for us to sell at the store. So I get to be really connected to them too. And that's been very cool. And because of the exposure on Magnolia, we're selling their stuff. And their stuff, these little Michigan makers, their stuff's going all over the country. And it's pretty fun.
Are you opening a new store? I wrote by what I thought I heard you bought.
I did.
Okay.
Has anyone gone to Furniture City Consignment over by Nordstrom Rack? We bought that building and completely remodeled it because we needed a place to put all of our inventory for e-commerce. So it's like 3,500 square feet of it is our warehouse and shipping center. And about 1,500 square feet of it is office space for our design teams. And then there's a big part of it that is like the big open area that is going to be, that is under conversation. And we've had way too many ideas to fit in that space. So we have to kind of decide what we're going to do. But it is a really great retail location as far as like he's getting to a huge parking lot and stuff. So I kind of feel like it wouldn't be smart not to have retail there. But what would it look like? I don't know. Well, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, one more.
So moving from Oak Park River Forest to Grand Rapids, you had family, but can you share, how did you learn or find, how did you find your people? Like your friends and like, you know.
Yeah. Actually, it's interesting because I think we spent about the first 4 years here without having found people. We hung out with our kids a lot, a whole lot. And my business was getting busier, so I didn't feel like lacking, like home alone with nothing to do. I was working and Grace had come alongside and was working with me. And then during that time, my husband retired, so he was a little bit more available. But we did start finding our people about 2 years ago. And it was church connections. We go to Crossroads. And one person in particular, I would say, has become the conduit for all kinds of amazing things in my life. And her name is Rosa. Yeah, Rosa. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Bible verse that's been an encouragement to you over the years?
Yes, I don't necessarily have a favorite verse, but I have, the Lord has used some scriptures to be very specifically pointing me in certain directions when I needed it. And it just makes me have such a love for his word because I know it's alive, it speaks through it, it has directly to me ever, reading it. But the one I've been really clinging to lately is Proverbs 16:9. And I've read it in so many different translations that I don't know if I have one it's like maybe a conglomeration, but it's kind of like we kind of chart our little steps, but the Lord establishes our path. And I love that because it indicates us moving forward. but being willing to be guided. And that there is a plan. And I love it, the word in some translations is establishes. Because Joanna Gaines picked the name of our show for us, The Established Home. And the whole crew, the whole production crew was like, I don't get it. I don't like it, I don't get it. And I was like, I love it. I feel like, because the Lord establishes our path and the Lord establishes our home. And as a result, it's good. But I was all in on that. And so I called the book Establishing Home, because it's like the story of that. And I love it. I think it's time for swags, huh? Thank you.